Good morning. I thank everybody for coming. Today we're here to talk about the excellent work that this police agency has been doing through the pandemic of 2020 and even before that time. Introducing my staff, Captain Martin, Captain Whelan, Sergeant Mike, County Probation Officer, and I can't recall everybody's name because I just can't. Mr. Lynch, County, State, and Street Crimes units. And the reason that everybody is up here is because we collaborate, we all work the streets, and together we have a thing going on where we're tasked with taking guns off of the city streets. And this is only a small portion of the guns that we have taken off the streets. Back in 2015, I talked to my staff, command staff, because we're having too many shootings. And I said to them, I want to stop the shootings. I know that we can't stop them all, but what we can do is take guns off of the streets. And from 2015 until present, we have taken 1,370 guns off of the streets. That's from adults and juveniles. We've taken AR-15s from juveniles. I believe that our youngest person that we took a gun from was 10 years old? I think 10 years old. Anyway, I put my staff in danger, tasking them with doing that, but they responded and responded well. There's been conversation throughout the city, especially this year, that Harrisburg police isn't doing anything to stop the violence, to address the violence, or to get the guns off of the streets. Back in 2020, we took 256 handguns and, well, guns period off the street, and that was after addressing the protests that we've been having here. That's been addressing, answering our regular day-to-day calls, dealing with all of the marches and what have you, and every other thing that we had to deal with back in 2020. 2020 was my worst year as an officer in the city because it was just so busy, overly busy, and our agency, along with every other agency across the whole country, was tasked miserably. But due to the goodness of our officers and their leadership, we were able to handle everything. Due to the collaboration that we had with the other agencies standing up here, we're able to handle everything, and I want to thank them personally. I thank you for everything that you've done for us so far. Mr. Lynch, as you know, he fed the senior citizens and the juveniles this year. You know, we fed basically all of Harrisburg, and it's been an ongoing thing for like months and months. So I just wanted Captain Martin to come up here next and to talk about his officers and a great job that they're doing and everything that we're going to do to make Harrisburg a safer place. Captain Martin.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good morning. My name is Captain Atta Akapo Martin. I'll spell that for you. A-T-A-H, last name A-K-A-K-P-O-Martin, M-A-R-T-I-N. I want to talk to you here today about some of the good work that's been done by multi-jurisdictional and multi-agency collaboration between the Pennsylvania State Parole Board, as well as the Dauphin County Adult Probation Office, and our very own Street Crimes Unit in our Harrisburg Bureau of Police. We've responded to several complaints over the winter months in reference to shots fired calls. In total, since October, we responded to over 200 calls in reference to shots fired, predominantly in residential neighborhoods and areas. In that response, the Street Crimes Unit, along with probation and parole officers, have been doing targeted enforcement. On the date of March 22nd, the State Parole Board agents, along with county probation agents, went to a residence to conduct a home check on one of the paroled individuals. And inside that residence during the check, they discovered illegal contraband, along with illegal items inside of the residence. Those officers who work closely with our Harrisburg Bureau Street Crimes members, they sought out a search warrant for the residence, and at that time, they conducted a search. Some of the items that you see here on the table here are some of the fruits from the search warrant. Those items include 6 guns in total, to include 2 shotguns, 2 rifle-style AR rifles, as well as 2 handguns, one of them illegally modified as well. They also recovered almost $68,000 in cash, which was recovered from the residence, as well as several pounds of marijuana, to include other Schedule II narcotics that were loosely found in the home, as well as some crack cocaine. They also discovered packaging materials, scales, documentations to indicate drug transaction sales, and they also discovered several rounds of extra ammunition to include large capacity round magazines that fit most of the weapons on the table here today, as well as extra rounds for other weapons as well. This was an ongoing investigation, and it continues to be an ongoing investigation. There was one individual charged at that time, but again, this took place in the residential area of Allison Hill, and it could not have been done, and the seizure could not have been done without the cooperation from both departments, from the state parole agency as well as the Dauphin County Adult Parole Unit as well. We work together, and since the COVID, the men and women have been doing a fine job. They've continued to do their jobs during the COVID season. They continue to do their jobs thereafter. And while the city starts to rebound and come back, they are still out there doing their jobs, responding to a lot of the responses from the public in reference to some of the high crime and shootings. This is just one example of some of the good work done by all the agencies involved. Those officers should be commended. This is just a small glimpse of what they do on a daily basis. And here today, we just want to show that there can be work done between all parties, and that work is good work done by both men and women of the agencies. Thank you.
Captain Whelan.
Thank you, Commissioner. Morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Terry Whelan. I'll spell it for you. It's Terrywealand. I'm a captain here with the City of Harrisburg Bureau of Police. I run the Criminal Investigation Division. Needless to say, 2020 was an interesting year for the Harrisburg Bureau of Police. Our Bureau successfully handled over 20 protests in about 3 months last summer. Out of those protests, 7 individuals were charged with their illegal activity, and all were taken into custody peacefully. Our Bureau investigated 25 homicides in 2020. Those that aren't charged are still active, ongoing investigations. Organized crime and vice units seized close to $390,000 in cash and 69 illegally possessed firearms. They conducted 73 search warrants and arrested or charged 179 people for their illegal activity. Our forensic technology unit took over 14,000 photographs and entered 61 cases into the automated fingerprint ID system. They also compared 2,556 fingerprint results. Our forensic investigators processed a total of 369 crime scenes and processed 634 pieces of evidence in our lab alone. That's evidence collected from scenes including but not limited to homicides, robberies, rapes, burglaries, and child abuse. That's 3 people that did all that work just out of that office alone, ladies and gentlemen. All this while our Bureau members served honorably, professionally, and compassionately during a state of national and worldwide pandemic, and also in a climate nationwide that didn't always seem so supportive of law enforcement. Firearm seizures, our commissioner talked a little bit about it before. Over the last 5 years, in 2015 alone, there was 213 illegally seized firearms. 2016, there was 194. 2017 was 252. 2018 was 205. 2019, 202. And last year, 2020, there was 256. So far this year in 2021, year to date, there was 49 firearms seized by our Bureau alone. That brings, like our commissioner said, the total over 1,300 weapons since 2015. In 2021, so far, our Bureau has investigated 3 homicides. On January 11th of this year, Juwan Rusal was charged with the senseless homicide of Billy Greer at North 6th and Woodbine Streets. March 6th of 2021, Christopher Hill was murdered on Division Street. That's still an active, ongoing investigation. There's been significant progress made towards the identifying the perpetrator of that crime. March 16th, Joseph Ageo Quinones was charged with the murder of Salvatore Gianquito in the 1300 block of Kittatinny Street. Also this year, our Bureau has enjoyed a robust pilot program in the form of the Harrisburg Police Bureau State Parole Agent Liaison position. Whereas we now have a resident PA State Parole Agent working within our ranks in our Bureau to facilitate the exchange of information between both of our agencies. The program has been very fruitful so far. Our Bureau also continues to enjoy the benefits of having several members serving alongside various county and federal agencies, to include Dauphin County Probation and Parole, the FBI, the ATF, the United States Marshal Service. These relations aid our Bureau with the investigation, prosecution, and safe apprehension of some of our most violent criminals. Thank you.
And just to add on to the 1,370 guns that we've taken off the street, this number does not touch on the Attorney General's office, who does work here in the city, the ATF, who has taken guns out of the city, Dauphin County Task Force, PSP, who right along with our street crimes unit, they've taken guns out of the city. So the 1,370 plus guns that we're talking about are just the ones that Harrisburg City has taken out off of the streets here, but the number is way higher than that if I counted the other agencies. I would like to call Mr. Lynch up here to the microphone right now.
Thank you, Commissioner. My name is Blake Lynch, serve as the Director of Community Relations and Engagement for the Bureau, alongside Captain Milo Hooper, as well as Sergeant Josh Hammer. Josh Hammer, our sergeant, is in charge of our Community Policing Division with officers tasked with quality of life issues, who also assist with street crimes and some of the other specialty services as well with regards to that. With regards to Community Services Division, we're actually in the process right now today conducting interviews to fill 7 CSA positions. Those are Community Service Aid Liaison positions that will be civilian roles, helping to bring resources to the members of the community, as well as work alongside our officers and helping to bridge that gap between the community and the police. In regards to our feeding program that the Commissioner tasked us with earlier this year, when the pandemic started, to date we've served over 1.2 million pounds of food. That equates to over 838,000 meals to over 22,000 families in and around the city of Harrisburg in just under a year alone. And in doing so, also our officers with our HUD unit and community policing unit help distribute a majority of those meals, with over 200 volunteers every week giving that food out through partnership with the Central PA Food Bank. So we're grateful for those and all of our collaborative partnerships, and looking forward to continue working alongside our officers to help build that gap and help with the resources that our community needs. And we're grateful for our officers for all the hard work that they do every day, and then also looking forward to building this CSA position, role, and responsibilities to, again, assist our community.
Thank you, Mr. Lynch. Have any questions? We'll open it up now for any questions.
Numbers, a decline in violent crime among teenagers?
I'll let Captain Whelan answer that there, since he's in CID.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yes, sir.
If I was to call that right now, Mark, I'd be jinxing our agency, and I just don't want to go off that ledge. You know what I mean? I'm sure you can understand. It's a fact that violent crime happens in this town and everywhere at any time of day, and it involves all ranges and colors and creeds of people. I mean, to put a number on that right now, I can't really do that. Is that fair enough? Yes.
Questions?
You highlighted a little bit, but throughout the pandemic, it's been a challenge for everybody. But what's it say about your force for what they've done this year, 25 homicides, and the amount of guns and just the work they show up every day and do the work that needs to get done to keep Harrisburg safe?
The work that they have done is an outstanding job. I just don't have the correct words to tell you how I really feel about it. Anytime, you talk about taking a gun from a juvenile, anyone for that matter, you're talking about an intense moment. You're talking about when things can go wrong. You're talking about the possibility of one of my officers getting shot or one of my officers shooting someone that possesses a gun. So I know for myself and my staff, command staff, my captains and my supervisors, the LTs, we have a lot of sleepless nights because I task them with doing this here, and I get calls or text messages from Sergeant Mike telling me that they successfully took another gun off the street. They successfully took another AR-15 off the street without harming the general public. And this is done in mind without bringing any harm to the general public, to the person that we're taking the gun from. And I put my people in absolute danger every day having them do that. Do you want to add anything, Captain?
I'll just say briefly that the work that they do is an incredible job. As you've pointed out and what has been said already, they continued to work when others stayed home. And that effort that they've put out and they continue to put out has been tremendous. Along with our partner agencies who have also been by our sides, continuing to do the work that the complaints continue to come in. The phone continues to ring. We continue to answer the call. That's nothing short of a lot of people out there. Your grocery store people as well through the COVID, your truck drivers, everyone has a role to take. They all take responsibility for the jobs that they do. It's no different up here with the men and women that work in the Bureau. They do a tremendously good, hard work. Thank you.
Yes.
Can you say how the majority of these guns were confiscated? Was it through traffic stops or home searches?
Sergeant Mike.
Yeah, for us, the street crimes unit, a lot of that depends on what we're doing that day. A lot of them do come from traffic stops, but also a lot of them come from clients that we're stopping either on the streets, having street contact with, or if we're doing like this one here, in collaboration with the state parole agents and Dauphin County Adult Probation, this was a residence check. So it's hard to give you a number as far as what is the most, or where do we get the most guns out of, but I would say they all play an integral part. Some are residents, some are just street contact, and just some are traffic stops.
Kind of a follow-up. Can you talk about the impact of getting 1,370 guns off the street? What do you think, how it will decrease crime in your eyes?
Well, I would hope that it would. Every gun, shotgun, rifle that we get off the street, hopefully, we are saving someone's life. So, and they're weapons that cannot be used criminally. So I believe, that it is knocking the statistics in Harrisburg of felony crimes down. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
I know you said you're not really able to get super specific about where these firearms are being collected as far as like traffic stops and stuff like that, but where do you think they are coming from like a larger perspective? Are these guns that are legally owned and then stolen, or are these guns that end up being manufactured? I know there's ghost guns out there. Can you speak to that and where these are coming from?
Well, as you know, Harrisburg City, we have no gun shops on any of our corners here. They're all in the suburbs outside of the city, across the river and what have you. Some are being brought in to our city, traded for drugs. Some are being straw purchased. We have ghost guns that the federal agencies have. We don't have them out right now. Some of them are being taken in like burglaries. So, there's a couple different areas where people are able to get guns from here, But the main thing is that, 1,370 guns are an awful amount of guns in this city, and I don't believe that we tapped the top of the iceberg yet. You know, there are a lot more guns out there, and I had parents that cooperated that didn't want to see their kids get hurt. I had people call me up, and I had them surrender guns to me. There's no questions asked. AR-15s with 100-round clips to them, and drums and stuff like that. So today, I would like to say that thanks to the cooperation of our citizens of this city, thanks to parents that really care for their kids, and I believe that that's the whole city. I'm just asking again, that if you know that your child is possessing a handgun and they should not have one, just call me, just call the county dispatch number. We will come and relieve the handgun or the rifle from you or the shotgun from you without any questions asked. Anything else? Yes, sir.
Commissioner, speaking on who can have guns, from your perspective, do you think there should be tighter laws on who can get guns?
I believe that every American citizen in this country who legally possess a handgun should be able to have one. Those people that should not be able to possess one should not have one. That's how I feel about it. This country has always had guns in it. There's millions and millions and millions of guns out there, but anybody who is legally able to possess a handgun, I don't think they should be penalized for somebody else. Yes.
Just one more question, and this might go to the officer on the end. Those non-uniform roles, the civilian roles, can you talk more about the work that they will be doing?
Sure. I'm actually a civilian myself, so I serve as director of the other civilians responsible for this. So those CSAs, we had over 140 applications that came in. Most of those are city residents, and we have to select 7. So we are excited about that. Their roles and responsibilities include working to build a bridge, again, between the community and police, identifying issues that are going on in their blocks and their communities, bringing those back to the officers that we work with in our community policing division to help with those quality of life issues, such as loud music complaints, neighborhood disputes, maybe shots fire calls or anything like that, that could be worked with a follow-up with those officers under Sergeant Hammer's leadership, and then also quality of life issues that impact them more broadly. So expanding relationships with churches, security checks and setting up security monitoring systems, also school district relationships and working with the probation officers in the district. So there's a wide range, a variety of things that they're going to be doing, and then also a lot of city services. So people call the police for things that are non-police related all the time. So things that might be able to relieve our admin officers and what they're tasked with, they might be able to answer and assist with.
Just a quick follow-up. What's the biggest success you guys have had having these, this role, this bridge?
Sure. Well, these are new people who are being hired, but in my current role, I think definitely helping feed people during the pandemic has been tremendous. Our officers out there doing that and assisting has been great, and people really being grateful that was happening, especially in the early days. Now we've moved on to helping with the vaccine distribution. So with Hamilton Health and Capital Blue Cross, we've been helping to assist with pop-up locations around the city to ensure that our residents are able to get those. So.
Okay. I thank you for showing up today. If there are any more questions, if not, thank you.